Hey guys, so lately I've kind of been, I'm not gonna say struggling, but kind of juggling a lot of fear on my plate and like having that on my chest and such. And I kind of wanted to talk about that today as I had recently really overcome it as a whole. There are a lot of layers to fear and a lot of different ways to approach this. So I'm just gonna start off by saying at times you just need to let it consume you. And what I mean by that is, do you know when you're about to puke, that whole bodily feeling of fear, like you're gonna die or you just feel so unwell? You might experience a kind of fear like that in your typical life or something like that, something amongst those lines. And I want you to let it consume you, not in a way where you're feeding into it mentally, just where you can freeze and let your mind freeze too, and let the fear really wrap over your body. And then after a second, you realize it can do nothing to you. It has no power over you. And in the sense that it has no power over you, you're still here. You're still in your body. You're still okay. Like, it can do nothing to you. It can't kill you. It can't harm you. It can't control you. When you let it consume you, you can look down. You're still here. Your feet are still on the ground. You're still existing. Anyway, I wanted to add that real quick. Or for some of you who might like to smoke, say you green out. You know that bodily fear where you feel like you're gonna die, similar to like when you're about to puke. Just let it consume you with no like thought in your mind, like no feeding into it, no nothing, just neutrality in your mind. Your mind, let it stay blank, and let this feeling wrap around you again. And then you realize it has no power over you. Fear in general never has any sort of power over you. And this is saying a lot because I grew up an incredibly fearful person for some reason. Like I was afraid of the dark, afraid of being alone in the dark, afraid of night. I was always paranoid. I was always scared something was going to get me or something was going to happen. And recently for myself, I'd realized that I can't keep giving power to these random narratives. The narratives of my mind, mind you, that aren't even real. Because in a lot of cases, our fears aren't real. Our fears typically are unfounded on some sort of thing we've made up in our own mind. Say we're afraid of a social reaction, we're afraid of not getting a career, we're afraid of not getting this or this, we're afraid of so many things. But in reality, these fears have no real hold on you. There's no real consequence to these things. There's no real consequence to these things. Say you get laughed at socially. Who gives a shit? Who cares? Who cares? Like, I'm not going to delve into the topic too deeply, but on a logical scale, this, for example, is just a reflection of the kind of people that are laughing at you. Like, that's a reflection of who they are, and you shouldn't, in my opinion, even feel embarrassed in the first place. I feel embarrassment is something you would create in your mind, just like fear. And in reality, all of these things that you're afraid of have no real consequence. All consequences, all these terrible things, everything bad is not real until death. It's all in that's okay, I mixed the quote up. It's all in your mind until death. Nothing's gonna happen if people laugh at you. Nothing negative is gonna happen if you don't get that job. Okay, well, maybe that's a bit more complicated, but you're not gonna die if you don't get that job. The world's not gonna end if you don't get that job. The world's not gonna end if these people laugh at you. The world's not gonna end if all of these things you're afraid of happens, because you're still gonna have your 2 feet on the ground. You're gonna still be right in your body, and you're still gonna be present in here in your body. And again, until death, all fear, all consequence is mental. All these things are mental. And this also goes hand in hand in accomplishing the things you want to in life, say career-wise, say things you want to become or things you want to do. There is absolutely no terribly negative consequence to going after that thing. It's like, I'm sure you've heard this before, I'm sure, but it's like, would you rather have the consequences of remaining stagnant exactly where you are your entire life, the entire rest of your life, remaining exactly where you are now, never achieving the things you want, never get anything you want, never getting anything you want, never doing anything you want, never accomplishing anything? Would you rather stay in that stagnant place forever, and then go on your deathbed one day and just regret it, regret your entire life, regret not doing anything, regret not taking action, regret not doing all of these things because fear had kept you in that place, fear of not being able to accomplish it? Or would you have rather tried and failed and then tried again and then failed and then tried again and then made some success? Or made some luck, you know? You could have tried so many times, all these times, and maybe you failed over and over and over again and realized maybe you weren't cut out for that and maybe you're okay with that. But on your deathbed, mind you, you'll probably achieve it if you keep going for it. But on your deathbed, you won't look back and be like, I regret not trying. I regret not even trying. Like, you won't, no. And, you know, there's something I was gonna say. Shoot, well, hold on one second. Guys, whatever I was gonna say slipped my mind. But, okay, I don't even know how to say this. Okay, so if we keep trying towards something we want to, we're gonna eventually get it or realize we don't want that thing, or our path might change to something else, or something else might come from it. But the truth of it is that you can't let fear control your actions, or you're gonna stay in the same exact place the rest of your freaking life. How unappealing does that sound? And this video is for the kind of people who are unsatisfied with where they're at now, who have bigger aspirations for the place they're at now currently, or they have different aspirations, just ideas to change, and they want to change and they don't want to stay stagnant where they are. I know it can be difficult. I know it can be difficult to just actually try and do it despite your fears, but you have to sit yourself down and realize you have to do this eventually. You will have to do it eventually. If you don't want to remain where you are, that's my cat. She's like confirming it for you. She's agreeing with me. If you don't want to remain where you are the rest of your life, you have to start eventually. You have to try. You have to move forward despite your fears. And that can be terrifying. But you have to also realize, if you don't want to remain stagnant and you decide you do want to do this one day and you're holding it off constantly because you're afraid you're procrastinating it, you're holding it off, you have to realize that one day it has to get done. It has to get done eventually. You have to start eventually. So literally, why not now? Why not go after it now? Why not change that stagnancy you're in right now and actually attempt? Because the sooner you do it, the sooner you're going to be getting out of the situation you're in now. And fear can manifest in all sorts of ways. You know, fear is actually the number one cause of procrastination. And for me, my cat's right here. For me, fear would always manifest whenever I realized I was finally starting to move forward in life. I would finally be fixing my sleep schedule, or like this would happen, and then something fearful would come into my life and then knock me right back down to that peg I was at before. Like, for example, I would try cutting TikTok scrolling out of, or social media scrolling out of my habits, because I noticed it was making my dopamine receptors go crazy, and I was constantly craving that hit, and I really wanted to change this. I wanted to get better, and then I also wanted to start sleeping on time. I wanted to start waking up earlier, and I noticed every single time I made that step forward, I made that step to doing these things, I would get really scared, and like something would keep me up all night, or I'd stay up all night scrolling on TikTok. And if you're like me, if these weird coincidences happen, you have to go to the core of that and fix that before moving forward. And for me, that meant realizing that fear was just me allowing myself to give my power away. Fear was allowing me to just let that dissipate in front of me. It's not real. Fear is quite literally not real. It's you giving your power away to everything around you, to the reality around you, to other people, to other circumstances, to other events, to whatever it may be. That's what fear is, and you're the one who gets to control that. It's scary, it's terrifying, it's literally fear. It's terrifying to try to overcome that. But then what you do is you put yourself on that pedestal and be like, hey, these are just thoughts. These are just feelings. Nothing more. They cannot hurt me. They cannot kill me. No. Fear is literally just a way to give away your power. And something that personally helped with me when I would feel really fearful was to jump forward one peg on the emotional scale and go from fear to anger. I would get angry at the fear. I would get angry at the fact that I was afraid for no reason, that I was letting myself convince myself I was afraid. And that's how you kind of do it. You go from fear to anger to suddenly being maybe frustrated, and then it's okay, and then neutral, and then you go up and you start feeling okay again. Because in reality, it's not that easy to jump exactly from fear all the way to like feeling okay and joyful and perfect. It doesn't work that way 9 times out of 10, but I'm not going to tell you how your reality, your emotional reality can work. But I had put myself back on that pedestal, and I told myself, wait a minute, this is my reality. This is my mind. This is my world. Of course, I'm talking about internally. Why am I letting these feelings or lack of power necessarily get to me? Because it's me who's in charge here. It's me who's in charge of this mind. It's me who is in charge. Just like it is you who is in charge. It's you who's in charge of these fears. It's you who is in charge. It's you who is giving away their power. You're giving away your power, and that's really what fear is. And we don't realize we have that power. We have that mental power, and fear is not real. It's not. It's literally just giving away our power. And, oh, sorry, my cat's messing with the hairbrush. She never gets in videos anymore. But fear is just quite literally giving away your power. It's all in your mind. When you are fearful, you are using your own thoughts and your own grievances, your own worries, your own woes. You're using those as an excuse to give away your power. You're using those as an excuse to make yourself upset or fearful. And in reality, we have complete control over that. So when it comes to fear, it could be paranoia, or it could be fear in starting a career, or like going after something you want. Go after it. Do it. Realize your power over these feelings. Realize your power over this feeling of fear. Abolish it. Go after what you want. Stop remaining stagnant. Improve. Get better. Don't let this feeling hold you back, because it's not supposed to. It's literally an excuse in your own mind to give away your power, to give away all of this, so you won't simply move forward. And this is coming from somebody who struggled from fear on so many different levels all throughout her life. So take it from me, you do have power over this feeling, and it really is just a method to keep you behind, because you can overcome it. You can, trust me. Anyway, guys, if you've had experiences on fear growing up, this is still pretty a prevalent topic in my life. I have overcame it, but I still would love to discuss it with you guys. I would love to hear your opinions if you've gone through the fears and all these things that I've talked about throughout this video. If you've gone through these things, please talk about it. Please talk to me about it in my comment section. I would love to hear about it. And I would love to hear ways that you have overcame it, or maybe ways that you're going through it now, or how you're struggling, or how you're trying to overcome it, because I like learning from you guys just as much as I like talking about my experience. But that's going to be a wrap, I think. I don't have much left to say. But peace, guys. Oh wait, you want to see Juniper real quick? I like to hold her like a baby, because that's what she is. Alright, she does not want to be held. Anyway, peace, guys.